today's class, we're going to talk just really fast about the 10 like most common emotions, and they might not be spot on, but they're ones that I see most frequently come up. And then researching wise, they're very common emotions that people feel. And we're going to talk about the oils that can support people through those emotions and helping them to release either negative connections to them, or even if they're a positive emotion, helping just keep encouraging that higher vibration. So a quote I found is, "Isn't it wonderful to discover that you are the one that you've been waiting for, that you are your own freedom?" I think a lot of the times people don't realize that it really just boils back to you, right? So your relief from your emotions, your things that are holding you back, it's possible to find that freedom and find that peace when you do the work for yourself. And a lot of the times oils aren't even considered when it comes to emotions. This is something that we're really trying to get out there for people to understand, that they can have the tools in their own hands to have their own breakthroughs and work through a process to find that relief and to find that aha moment and just the weight lifting off their shoulders, to realize that they can overcome trauma. And that sounds like a big thing, right? Like how in the world can I overcome trauma with an oil? There's properties within these essential oils that just go hand in hand with your emotions, and they support your body and finding that relief. So I'm not going to go too into depth this week on the connection between emotions and essential oils, but just keep in mind that they do work together, and it is possible to find your release and live free when you use them. And next week, we're going to be doing a little bit more of an in-depth class with Amanda Porter that's really going to dive into how that happens, the science behind it, and the ways to implement it more in your life. Okay, so our first emotion that a lot of people feel is anger. And this can be anger in any aspect, but really it's just that self-control, right? I'll be honest, I get angry as a mom, right? Maybe in anger towards something somebody's done to you. There are two oils that each of these emotions I'll talk about, that I just kind of picked two oils that are possible to support these emotions. So anger's is cardamom and thyme. With cardamom, it helps individuals kind of regain that objectivity, that mental sobriety and self-control. And those who are maybe frequently feeling frustrated or angry with other people or hot-headed, it's going to support those people. It's great for individuals who are basically struggling with maybe a long history of anger. If it's been something that you've had since you were younger, that aggression, that anger that pops up. Bree, yes, same. Motherhood brings so many emotions. It does. And I feel like a lot of these are going to fit into that as moms, right? But keep that in mind going forward, that you can find support when you reach for your oils. Cardamom also helps us to recognize and accept that your emotions are your own emotions. You need to know that you're responsible for your reactions, for your emotions that you're feeling, and it's no one else's fault but your own. So once you kind of accept that, you're going to feel more at peace. Like, okay, I can choose to be angry with my kid, or I can choose to be angry with my neighbor for yelling at my kids, or I can change my perspective and recognize that my emotions are my own. And once you do that, you're going to feel calm and in control of yourself too. Because I feel like a lot of times anger, being that big emotion, helps us to lose sight of who we are in the moment and even who we want to be. That other oil to reach for is thyme. This is a powerful cleanser of the emotional body. You're going to feel that relief if you felt buried in anger. If you've even had anger that you've suppressed into your body that comes up maybe from childhood or a past situation, thyme's going to help pull that out, and it's going to teach us to let go and move forward. It's also a really good one to transform hate and anger into love and forgiveness. So again, this cardamom is for objectivity, and thyme is that releasing and that forgiving. And both of them kind of bring us back full circle to loving and forgiving others. Our next one is commonly felt in this time of day, where people are just anxious. Anxiety is a huge emotion, and this can be triggered by so many different things. It kind of falls in line with another one we'll talk about in a minute, which is overwhelm. But anxiety, the two I would reach for are adaptive and basal. Adaptive is the oil for adaptability. It is clinically proven to lower your cortisol level, and it also assists in that anxious state. And so it's going to help you to adapt to stressors and the fears that you might be experiencing, I'm sorry, and help you have more clear and confident ways to address those. And then it helps caution your self-judgment. I know I'm guilty, and I'm sure others are, of criticizing ourselves inside our head. Maybe we don't even say it out loud, but there's always that questioning where you're wondering, am I good enough? I'm critiquing myself. I didn't do this right. You go to bed with your kids and you're like, gosh, that mom guilt, right? So it's going to caution us that self-judgment is an inner critic and causes us further trauma and hurt. So it's obviously not going to help us in any way, but it's going to help teach us kindness towards oneself when we're using adaptive. Okay, comment. Lee, love these suggestions. How should I use oils for my emotions specifically, diffusing or internally? So with emotions, you're going to get your most impactful benefit by inhaling it. So I'm going to say diffusing, or even just applying it in your hands and inhaling it with a scent tent, because you're going to have an almost immediate alter of your emotional state. Taking it internally, dōTERRA has their capsules you can take internally. So yes, that is going to definitely help in this sense of calming you down and getting you back to this tranquilized state, almost of just relaxed and accepting rather than having those anxious feelings. So you can definitely do both, but for an immediate reaction to improve your mood or to improve your emotion is going to be inhaling it. So if that helps you, I hope that does. Another oil for anxiety is basil. Now, this one is an oil that's going to help with adrenal exhaustion. It's going to target your mood. That includes like any fatigue or low energy, being overwhelmed, maybe the inability to cope with life's stressors, going back to that, anxious feeling. Anyone who's under a ton of mental strain. So if you're in maybe a workspace that's mental strain from an overload of things that need to be done in life and done in your job, basil is a great one to reach for. It's also going to bring strength and renewal to a weary mind and a weary body. So it's going to help you in both aspects. Our next one is it could be a good or a negative emotion, but trust. Trust comes hopefully a little bit easier to people when their relationships are healthy, right? It is one that people struggle with in maybe parents, a relationship with parents, a relationship with a spouse or a friend. Trust is important. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. It is the emotional healer. It's going to restore confidence in other people's goodness, and especially when people have lost trust in each other. It's going to help heal any broken heart feelings towards others. And with geranium, it is very, very potent. So a little drop goes a long way. But it is going to restore that emotion and help uplift. It is really, really good at reestablishing a strong bond, like I mentioned, with a mother and a father. So if you're maybe even implementing it, and I've implemented it with my children, when we've had a really rough day, we both do it at the same time, and we'll put a drop in our hands and we'll inhale it, and just restores that, like, okay, we're working together as a team. Now, if your trauma and your struggles go even deeper with a mother and father, this is one that you can work on yourself, and you can implement geranium in your healing process to help have a stronger relationship and a better relationship with your mother and father. And then geranium also just heals emotional wounds. Another one you can reach for is marjoram. It aids in those for those that are unable to trust others or form meaningful relationships. So that connection, marjoram is a connection oil. It teaches you that trust is the basis for all relationships, right? And I mentioned that at the beginning when I first started talking about this oil. And then it also makes one aware of the barriers formed, even subconsciously. And it helps increase warmth and trust in the social situations that you're in. Okay, so comment says, I love that you can include your family members and children in the use of oils. Isn't that incredible? And, most commonly, oils are used in the home to support our bodies, maybe like in a physical sense, right? Not many people recognize that emotional connection, and it really does. It helps. It helps in so many different areas: mind, body, spirit, everything, right? So yeah, using them with our kids is just an incredible resource. All right, another emotion that people feel kind of go hand in hand is self-esteem and self-worth. I feel like people are really struggling in the world right now to realize that they are unique and that they have something to bring to the table. So that self-esteem and that self-worth is just dropped, and people like to tear each other down. There's a lot of comparison with social media, and you only see the positives in people's lives. So how is that going to make us feel, right? Two oils that I'm going to reach for with self-esteem and self-worth. The first is going to be MetaPower. This one leans a lot towards your your physical appearance. Your body acceptance is what MetaPower helps with. If you have underlying emotional patterns that contribute to your physical look, maybe your shape and your size and your self-perception, MetaPower is going to help with that. Just inhaling it, just supporting your emotion of that lack of self-esteem and self-worth, right? How incredible is that? Now, MetaPower in itself is an incredible metabolic bodily support system that was created with doTERRA, and the oil is incredible. But let's take it into emotion. That is like my favorite thing about it is like, oh, it actually helps me love myself and recognize that it doesn't matter what I look like. I'm still beautiful, and I still can accept myself even on a path of getting better and trying to look better and trying to be better and healthier and stronger for myself. It's going to release self-blame when you're contributing to those physical and emotional pounds, right? You're kind of blaming yourself like, I am this way because of my choices. And, I'm maybe going back to that self-critique, right? Just really putting yourself down. MetaPower is going to be like, nope, you are still okay. You are still beautiful. And the next one, oh, really quick, MetaPower, just accepting your body as it is, and then rising above that self-judgment, embracing your body as it is, right? I guess my bergamot didn't type what I wanted it to. So let me just pull up really fast the bergamot. I think I accidentally deleted it because I was rushing here to make sure I had all of the facts. But bergamot is our oil of self-acceptance. So body acceptance, it was supposed to say self-acceptance there. And it helps relieve feelings of despair, self-judgment, low self-esteem, and it helps support individuals in need of self-acceptance and self-love. So it invites you to be more optimistic towards yourself, right? If you're feeling down and you're feeling hopeless, bergamot is going to lift you up. I actually reach for this oil a lot for our emotions to keep us kind of on that happier side, right? It helps bring confidence and hopefulness and being loved and loving yourself. So those are the two I'd reach for that. Our next one is actually a positive emotion that we feel, right? Joyful. Two oils you're going to reach for is lime and wild orange. Honestly, any citrus oil is going to be incredible for lifting your mood, helping you feel joyful. Lime is the oil of zest for life. And so if you're feeling weighed down with discouragement or grief, this is a great one to reach for. Diffuse it. Again, really just inhaling it, getting it in the air. It helps with courage and feeling cheerful in the heart. And then it also balances the mind and the heart together and being one. And then lime is very good for recognizing that you can be grateful for the gift of life, even through life's challenges and the things that weigh you down. there's always the gratitude towards the gift of life. And wild orange is our oil of abundance. It supports a positive mood and inspires that abundance. It's going to help you let go of any scarcity mindset that you might be feeling. It's going to have you let go of things that are holding you back and become as a child and live towards your true self. It's going to reconnect you to that inner child, right? That spontaneity, that playfulness, having fun, and being joyful. Another emotion that we feel is fearful. This can range from our kids being fearful at night to us being fearful of the future. Brave is the oil that's in the kids collection at doTERRA. My kids love it. I've actually been applying it because we're talking about nighttime fearful, right? I've been applying it to my daughter because she's having some separation anxiety with me right now. And so at night, I'll just rub it on the back and I'm like, you are brave. You're okay. Mom's right here, and it's been really hard for both of us because she's clingy and that's okay right now. I love it, but she's got to learn that separation's good for both of us too. So I've been applying that and I've been loving using that as a resource for me, but brave, is really good for courage. It's going to help you recognize to treat others and yourself with respect. If you've been feeling mistreated, if you've been bullied, if you've been excluded, or you feel less than others in any way, apply brave. Inhale brave. It's going to help you recognize that your worth can never be devalued by other people. And then it's going to help you reclaim that courage that you might be lacking, right? One thing I really love about brave is that it really instills the mindset that the only power fear has is the power that it is given. That applies in all areas, as a child, as an adult. What you give fear to is what fear's power will have. But if you don't give any power to that fear, you will come out above and you will be able to accomplish and be brave and have that courage. Bree said, my sons ask for and use this oil most nights. It brings them comfort. That's really cool, Bree. I literally just recently grabbed it this week. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So hopefully that's been helping your kiddos. That's amazing. And then juniper berry. This is the oil of night. So funny enough, fear of the dark or unknown aspects of yourself or your life. And it's going to help individuals address their fears and any issues they've been avoiding. So that's kind of maybe the adult's perspective of that, right? And it's going to help you learn a lesson as you face your fears and encourage you to face any fears that you're experiencing, because being in fear does us no good, right? And that emotion weighs heavy on people. It sets people back from their full potential. And so why not use our oils and reach for our oils to overcome that emotion and that struggle? All right, our next one, sorry, my little clicker, there we go, is sad. This emotion goes deep. This emotion also means grief too, right? And I think of so many people that are sad right now, that are grieving, that are really in pain. There's two oils. My favorite one to reach for is breathe, and it is the oil of breath. It helps people with the inability to let go of pain and grief. If you're feeling suffocated by sadness, reach for breathe, because it does exactly what it says. Even for the emotional side of things, it's going to help you breathe. If you're feeling unloved, it's going to bring it back and help alleviate that sadness. It encourages the release of that grief and sadness and helps you to receive genuine love and healing. So imagine breathing out is letting go. Breathing in is receiving love, right? And then the next one is lang lang. So lang lang is the oil of your inner child. And I thought, you know what better way to alleviate sadness and be free from this emotion than really healing and coming back to your inner child. It is the oil and that helps with the remedy for the heart and any emotional trauma. It's going to help release that. And trauma comes and stems from childhood. Not in all cases, but a lot of people's traumas do. It encourages and reminds us that joy can be felt when allowing a full range of emotions. So let your emotions in. Don't suppress them. Let them in. recognize them, address them, and help release them and move forward. It's going to also help us to reconnect with that inner child in pure and simple ways, making sure that we feel that joy and gladness in our heart, releasing that sadness. Next one I know us mamas can relate to is feeling burned out and exhausted. And this can be applied in so many ways. Maybe even if you're not a mom, if you're just busy in life, you're an adult. This is a big emotion for people. And there's 2 oils I'm going to reach for. It's going to be basil and past tense. And once again, my silly little computer. So basil is the oil of renewal, not relief. It is the oil of renewal. It's going to help renew our bodies. And this one targets your mood in that fatigue again, that low energy, being overwhelmed, that inability to cope with life stressors. We've talked about this, right? Basil was one we used a minute ago. When you're just struggling and feeling drained, basil is one that you're going to want to renew with. You're going to want to release those emotions with. And then past tense is the oil of relief. And past tense is going to help release stress and emotional tension. It's going to help you feel more relaxed. It's going to help you regain equilibrium from your burnout and your exhaustion and balance the body's energy system. Who doesn't want that? Because when your energies are low, you're not going to feel your best. You're not going to perform your best. You're not going to treat others their best. You're not going to treat yourself your best, right? So really releasing the burnout and accepting the balance of the energies. And again, this one reminds you that there's a lot to be grateful for, even when we have setbacks. And the next emotion is feeling lonely. This one kind of made me sad, guys. I really, have you ever felt lonely in your life? Like maybe you weren't accepted. Maybe you weren't connecting with people. Maybe you didn't have friendships. I honestly, to an extent, I haven't felt this emotion deeply, but to an extent, I've felt this emotion recently, mainly because we just moved. We moved last year and we don't have our own house yet. We're still in the process of building. And with that, we don't have friends. We have some, but not like our foundational friendships and community that we had down where we were living previously. So that's been hard. But gardenia is the oil of friendship. It's going to help revive and uplift the soul. It encourages being more friendly and approaching, and you doing the work too. Like you need to be approachable. You need to encourage that with boundaries, right? It's going to help secure yourself and make you feel more confident, even when you are maybe by yourself and alone. You'll get there. You'll have those friendships. And then it's going to help you to release discord and choose love. So lots of different ways that gardenia helps. And the other one is cedarwood. Cedarwood is the oil of community. If you're struggling to form bonds in the social group, if you're feeling excluded, cedarwood's going to help with that, helping you recognize and see that you are not alone. And then it's reminding you that you can open your heart to love and support. This is a really good one in the sense of mothers. I saw something the other day that somebody said that there is no community anymore. There is no, it was a village, because it says it takes a village, but there is no village. And I looked at the girl, and it was on a reel on Instagram. And I was like, I guess I don't know that feeling, because I have my village and, we're spread out, but I have a community of women, both in dōTERRA and in my own personal life, that I can reach to and ask for help. And so it made me kind of sad to see her not have that community. But cedarwood's going to help you recognize that there's support and power in community, and not just having excessive self-reliance. Lose that side of self-reliance and accept community and help, right? I loved that about that. So you're not feeling lonely, but you're also feeling supported. And then our last, I think this is our last emotion that I thought of, kind of goes hand in hand with that anger earlier, was frustration. And I'm going to bring up cardamom again, because it is the one for anger and frustration, that objectivity, really recognizing your emotions and helping people to to find that self-control and that calm, and just being aware of where our anger lies and where it's stemming from. Why are we reacting to our kids? What is it in ourselves that's making us frustrated with what they're doing? I like to ask myself, am I mad? So if I'm mad at my child, am I mad because, or yelling at them or frustrated and angry because they're doing something that I don't like? Something that maybe triggered me that I got in trouble for? Or is it something that is actually putting them or themselves in danger, or they need to be corrected on to help them learn a specific tool to educate them, right? So there's a balance. And I'm really trying to focus on that, not being frustrated, because I will be completely honest with you, in the past, and even occasionally, I do get to be a hothead sometimes. It just comes to me and I just get really frustrated and angry with my children. Mainly because I'm like, gosh, you should know this. Like, how many times have I told you this, right? Like, or don't do that. You're hurting someone. And, do you want to be treated that way? It goes back to that golden rule, honestly, of treat people the way you want to be treated. And I have to remember that. Bree, you're not alone. We've all been there. Yeah. I really think that it just comes, right? And it's okay to accept and to have those feelings and those emotions, and to have those oopsies of yelling, but recognize that there are ways to support your frustration and to not get overstimulated and triggered by what your kids are doing, because they're just kids. They're still learning, and you are there to educate them and help them through their own path. So grab your cardamom for that. And then the other one I recommend is geranium, again, for that love and trust, giving you that bond, helping you heal those emotional wounds. And then geranium also, there was something in there I wanted to share with you, and I didn't put it in here just because it's kind of a long one. Okay, so it says geranium is a gentle oil for babies and children. It nurtures that inner child and supports in reparenting this aspect of the self. So kind of like what we were just talking about, we need to relearn, we need to reparent ourselves and our inner child in order to help our outbursts, our frustrations, right? Geranium heals the heart, instills unconditional love, and fosters trust. So it's going to encourage that emotional honesty, love, and forgiveness, even when you're frustrated, even when that emotion is running high. So that is the top 10 emotions that I have for today. I get all of my emotional and oil definitions and descriptions from the Essential Emotions book. This guy, we'll show you once the camera gets off, but the Essential Emotions book, it's going to teach you to process, to release, and to live free. And if you're ever wanting to know what oil might support you in a strong emotion you're feeling, this is the book you're going to want to have, because it really does tell you. You can look up any, even ailment. Like if you're feeling something physically on your body, like, oh, my elbow hurts. This is such a random spot in your body, but you could say that. You can look up, okay, elbow, and what emotions are connected to your elbow or to your lower back or to your stomach, right? And it's going to give you a list, and you can go through and decide which one you're really feeling and work on that emotion and release that emotion. And I also help with that. I'm an essential emotions coach. So if you're ever wanting to do a breakthrough session to work on an emotion and help yourself come to the root cause of something and release it, let's work together. Let's chat. You can follow me on my Instagram. You can call me, text me, whatever you need to do to help yourself heal and do the work yourself. Kia just entered. So anyways, I just wanted to wrap that up and tell you all thank you for coming, and thank you for listening in. And if you ever have an emotion you need support in, just reach out to me and I would be more than happy to help you with it.